Alexa, turn on bedroom. No. Oh, no. Alexa, turn on desk. Okay. There we go. Alexa, turn off bedroom. Okay. Hi, and welcome to episode 10 of the Nicole Stitches podcast. I am Nicole, a left-handed crocheter, knitter, and general crafter coming to you from Northern Virginia, where I work and live with my fiance and our cat, Webster. You can keep up with me on Instagram at NSP Designs, on Ravelry as she writes things, on Pinterest as NSP Designs, and my Etsy shop, NSP Designs, where I make and sell handmade project bags, other fiber accessories, and the occasional original crochet pattern design inspired by the theater. So it has been a little bit. I accidentally left you alone for a week. It was actually a planned absence that I just forgot to tell you about. If you follow me on Instagram, I did mention it in a story and in a post, but if you missed my stories or if you didn't see my post because Instagram's algorithms are literally made by Satan, I essentially... Webster, what are you doing? What? Oh, he found a fly. If you didn't see and you were unaware, I spent the last week at camp. Every summer for a week, my college holds a writing camp for high schoolers, and I think if you're going into high school, I guess you count as a high schooler in that case, like you just left middle school. Teenagers who are interested in writing and some alums get invited back to be kind of like mentor, counselor, buddy type people. And I have done this the past couple of years, and so that's where I was. I didn't have the time or frankly the energy or a place to upload or to film and then post anything. So I totally forgot to mention it in my last video. I obviously knew that this was going to happen. It just completely I didn't think about it until it was way too late, and so sorry, but I'm back, and it was a great time. I always look forward to doing camp every year. It's one of my favorite parts of the summer, and it was a great week. I did not get as much knitting done as I thought that I might, or as I kind of was hoping, but I did get some done, and I got a lot of writing done, which is always good, and yeah, it was a great time. We actually stayed in Webster. We actually stayed in the dorm where I lived for my last 2 years of college, so that was very nostalgic for me. I went and found my old door, and anyway, neither here nor there. Here we are, new episode, I'm back, and I have lots of stuff to share with you. This is probably going to be a pretty jam-packed episode, so grab yourself some knitting and a beverage, and we'll get started. I actually have so much to share that I took notes this time. I have only occasionally taken notes, and almost never have I followed them, but I plan to do that this time because I actually have, like, a lot to talk about, and I will feel very bad if I forget some of it. So, first, we will start out with a finish. No! Oh, God. Okay, see? I have it written down, and I already forgot. We now have a Ravelry group for the podcast. I had not created one up until this point because I didn't really know what creating a group entailed, and then a couple weeks ago I kind of made one and I kind of started like filling it in, and then I just got sidetracked by a whole bunch of stuff and I didn't go back to it, but I finally did. I finished it. So now we have a banner and a photo, and it's there. So you can go to Ravelry and search for the Nicole Stitches podcast group or the NSP Designs group. It kind of has both in the name. I will add a link to it in the description, and it will be there from now on with all of my other various platform links. And please come join us. From now on, I will be posting show notes for every video in the group. I have caught up to all of the episodes so far, so if you go into the group, there's already going to be a new post for every episode with notes about everything that I talk about, pretty much everything that's in the description of the video, but if you missed it, or you're description wouldn't load or something, or you're on Ravelry and you just want to see something real quick from what I talked about, you'll have show notes there. In the future, I may try to make them a little bit more detailed, but for now, for the existing episodes of the podcast that have already been uploaded, the show notes that are on Ravelry are pretty much what was in my description. I also created a post, and I think I made it stick to the top of all of the posts in there, that is just an introduction thread. I made a post to introduce myself, and if you join the group, you can make a post there too, and, you know, tell a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you like to make, where you live, etc., etc. So please go join the group. We are small but mighty. You are more than welcome, and in the future, I definitely want to do some fun stuff in there. A Q&A thread, a few cows with a K and a C, and just, you know, all of the good, fun stuff that happens in a Ravelry group. So, I already forgot something, but I think that's everything that I needed to talk about in the beginning, and now we can move on. Finished objects. I have one this week, and it is the secret cross-stitch project that I have been making reference to and kind of briefly, sneakily sharing for the past couple of videos. The reason that I was being sneaky about it, if you are not aware, is that the person it was for is a person who watches these videos, and I didn't want to spoil it, but I put that package in the mail this week. By the time this goes up, she should have received it, so I'm just going to freely talk about it. It was a birthday gift for my best friend, Rachel. She's a precious angel and my warrior princess. Every year for her birthday, we make each other birthday posts, obviously, on like Facebook and social media, but I always come up with a lot of very congratulatory, praising titles for her, and this year I called her a whole bunch of names. But those are just some of them. She's my best friend. We met in college, and she lives very far away. Not very far away, but too far away. So we don't get to see each other very often, but I love her very much, and she watches these videos. I didn't want to spoil the element of her gift that I made, but I will share a picture of the finished object because I didn't keep it to show on the video. I wanted to get it in the mail to her because it was technically mailed after her birthday. But I will insert a picture, however, there is a warning. It contains a curse word. I won't say the curse word out loud because, well, these are my videos and I could if I wanted to. I am aware that some people watch these videos with little ears around, and so I won't say the curse word, but it's going to appear on your screen. So if you're going to be bothered by that, skip ahead a couple seconds. But here is a picture of the finished product. I love it so much. It is a pattern by the Etsy shop Plastic Little Covers. The designer is named Lauren. She's amazing. I hoard her patterns. I have so many of them stored away. I've made a few now. I've made at least 3, possibly more, but I love them so much. They're too funny. She does a really great job of combining kind of that classic cross-stitch style of like florals and banners and, you know, beautiful script with like nerdy quotes and a lot of curse words, and it's just, I just think it's hysterical. I get a big kick out of it. So I made Rachel that cross stitch because obviously it describes us. I'm very pleased with it. It came out looking great. I didn't follow the colors that are on the pattern itself. I wanted to basically use up a bunch of mystery bobbins of floss that I had lying around. They were, I don't know why I never labeled what DMC number they were, but I didn't, so they were just a bunch of bobbins of random floss colors that I can't really use for projects that call for very specific colors, but I don't want to make them go to waste. So for these smaller projects, I'm totally going to use them up if they match the intended pattern colors well enough. You know, who's gonna check? So that is a finished object for this week. I really loved working on it, and I do have another stitchy project going that I will share with you in a little bit, but first I am going to move on to my knitting works in progress. I did bring my knitting to camp with me, but I didn't get very much done. During the day, it is very busy. We wake up very early in the morning, at least an hour earlier than I wake up for my job every day, and we are going a lot for the whole day. So we get up, we get the kids up, we go to breakfast, we would do a little game, and then we would take them to their first 2 sessions, take them to lunch, more writing time and games, the next 2 sessions, more games and writing stuff, and then a nighttime presentation, which would usually be a reading from someone, and then it was bedtime. So I did not bring my knitting around campus with me all day. I kind of thought that I would, but my backpack ended up being pretty full with like a water bottle and my computer and my writing implements and just various kind of detritus that you want to have on hand all day. So I didn't end up taking any knitting with me. And actually when the kids were in their sessions and I thought I might knit, I ended up writing, which is really great because I consider myself a writer before anything else. Like a writer before a knitter or a crocheter, I'm a writer. But I don't spend nearly as much time writing as I should, and as that is my dream to be an author, I really need to fix that. So, it's okay. So it's really more than okay that I spent my session time writing. And most of the time that I was knitting was actually in the evenings, either in the last kind of hour, half hour or so before we sent the kids to their rooms, and then after that, my fellow alum counselors and I would kind of hang out for a little bit, usually while we were falling asleep talking to each other, but we did hang out for a little bit, and that is when I got a lot of my knitting done. So, last we spoke, I was still working my way through the body of my Spotlight sweater, and I am very, very pleased, so pleased to say that I have moved on to the yoke, which means the Spotlight sweater is a bottom-up sweater, and because I have moved on to the yoke, that means that I have attached the sleeves. Now, this is my first bottom-up sweater. It is my second sweater for me ever. I have been a baby sweater before, but this is my second for me sweater. And I have to say that I am not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed working on my Tecumseh. I think there are a few reasons for that, but I think, honestly, one of the major reasons is that it is a bottom-up sweater versus a top-down. It just felt like it took so much longer that I feel like I've been working on this forever, and I don't like that I can't functionally try it on as I go to make sure that it fits. Yeah, that's pretty much the things. It feels like it's taking a lot longer and I can't try it on until I'm so far into the process that it's really unlikely that I would frog and start over. But I think it looks okay, and because it is superwash wool, I think that if I need it to be a little bigger, I can block it out. I know that superwash wool tends to grow, so I made it hopefully to the right proportions, and if it's a little snug, then hopefully I can grow, or that's an excuse to like maybe eat fewer cookies. But I'm not going to eat fewer cookies. So, anyway, here is my sweater. As you can see, I have moved on to the yoke. This is basically an arrow motif, so there will be a row in this pink color, and then there will be some decreases and another row that will be blue. And let me see if I can pull out the blue skein to show you. It's been a little while since I showed you my yoke colors. It will be this color blue. The shade is Electric Blue from KnitPicks. I'm using KnitPicks Swish Worsted, which is a 100% superwash wool. Webster's still trying to kill that fly. So this will be the second row, and the third row there will be another round of decreases, and then the third color will be this, which is Honey. This is the same yellow that I used in my Tecumseh, but my Tecumseh was in DK. And this pink color is Conch, and then the gray is Marble Heather. Now that I'm onto the color work, it is more fun because it's a little more interesting than just let me knit and knit and knit and knit and knit tubes of gray, because when you do this sweater, you knit sleeve, another sleeve, and then the body. So I had been knitting just gray tubes for days, and it was boring me out of my mind. And if I'm totally honest, I actually stopped knitting on the body a little bit earlier than I was supposed to, but I am very short. I'm 5'2", so I'm quite petite. I have kind of a short torso. I have long limbs, but a short torso. So, and again, I think that it will grow, plus I still have to do the yoke. So, I use all of that, plus boredom, as an excuse to just stop knitting the gray body and move on to the yoke. TinCanKnits patterns are known for having a huge range of sizes, which is great. I think that, I don't know if all of their patterns do this, but all of the ones that I own run all the way from newborn size to like extra large or possibly even higher. And I think that because of that range is provided, you could probably do the math, and if you needed to size beyond the chart that they give you, you probably could. So that's nice. And TinCanKnits is also known for having very clear patterns, which was definitely true for the Flax Light, and has mostly been true for this, but I will say, I felt like I was missing some detail detail when it came time to actually put the sleeves and the body all together. I finished knitting the body, that was just the body, and it gave some instructions for putting armhole stitches on waste yarn, which is what this is. But then I kind of had to figure out how to orient the sleeve and the body together in such a way that it was all connected correctly. That was not explained in the pattern, and maybe that's my misunderstanding. Maybe I should have read about bottom-up sweater construction first. So that's quite possible. And it's not a huge problem. I mean, I figured it out, but I would have liked a little bit more like I actually went back and looked to see if I missed a step, or if I missed like a paragraph on the page or something that said, this is how you should turn your sleeve, or this is how it needs to be oriented in relation to the body part to get everything lined up correctly. So I thought that was a little bit unclear, but that's probably my fault. But I figured it out, obviously, because here we are, sleevey sleeves, and I'm working away on the yoke, and I really like it. My floats are okay. I had to switch up to a bigger cord circumference because I was finding that my stitches were way too scrunched up on the previous cord, and it was making the color work hard, and it was making my floats like huge. I don't know if that's a common problem or just me being bad at knitting, but I switched to a bigger cord and that made it better. I also have started catching my floats because these bits here are pretty wide in terms of how long the float at the back would have to be, and that wasn't bothering me at first, but then I remembered that all of the other knitting podcasters who I watch who make colorwork projects would talk about catching their floats, how you should catch your floats after a certain number of stitches, so I thought, I should probably do that. And it looks great so far. I'm trying to remember to always catch my floats when I do that. Here's an example of where I caught one here. So I didn't catch this one, but I caught this one. Didn't catch it, caught it. I hope that turns out as a clear image on camera. Don't know if I'm doing it right, but it is catching the float, and the caught piece is not showing through on the front, so I consider myself doing it correctly. Think now hopefully it'll be a little bit quicker going because I just have the yoke left, and I love working color work, as it turns out. Simple color work. I haven't gone like bananas with the color work yet, but I enjoy it. So maybe it'll just be a couple more episodes before this is also finished. And I will put that away, and I want to give you a little update on my pins. I always like to jazz up my project bags, and I have added so many to this one recently because it's a bigger bag. I feel like I have this whole canvas that I can fill up. So here we go. Here's a quick look at all of my pins. I always try to link my pins in the description and my show notes and tell you exactly what shops they're from. If I can't find the listing or something and I can't link directly to the pin specifically, I at least link the shop so that you know where you can find it if there's any that you were interested in. There's one on here that is very special, and it is this one. It is the most recently added. It is just a little pin that says yay, and this one is from a UK shop called Rock Cakes, and I ordered a small hoard of these pins to ask my dear friends and my cousin to be my bridesmaids. I talked about this in my last episode. I recently became engaged. We recently became engaged, and I wanted to do something nice for my bridesmaids. I always actually thought that like bridesmaid proposals were a little bit unnecessary. They're very fun and sweet and cute, but I'm kind of a more budget conscious person, and we definitely don't want to spend a ton of money on our wedding as a whole. So you know, seeing these kind of elaborate gift display things to me always kind of seemed like an extra expenditure in an already very expensive process, and I was always like, I'm not gonna do that. But then I saw these cute little pins and they really weren't expensive, and I'd actually had it bookmarked on my Etsy favorites for quite a while just because it was a cute pin. And I saw another little cute card that you can send to your bridesmaids, and it was also very inexpensive. And I thought to myself, well, this is something really nice, and the people I've chosen to be my bridesmaids are all people who've been in my life for a very, very long time. They've all really contributed to who I am as a person. They've been there for me through really, really tough times, and I wanted to do something small to show them how much they mean to me and how important it would be to me for them to stand with me on my wedding day. So I ended up caving and putting together little will you be my bridesmaid packages to send to them. And I got each one of them this pin, and I got one for myself. So it just makes me think of my friends every time I see it, and it makes me very happy, as they do. So that's a little mush for the end of my spotlight sweater. I'll move on to the next project now. My next project is my Camp Wilkerson wrap, which of course is not tucked into its project bag because that would be far too much of a person who has their life together. Oh, and I'm also in the middle of a row. Perfect. And I've dropped a bunch of stitches. Stand by. Okay, so next up is my Camp Wilkerson wrap. These are the two projects that I brought with me to camp, were my spotlight sweater and my Camp Wilkerson wrap. And I worked on them pretty evenly, which is not very much on either one. But here we are. The first time I showed it, I added a little stitch marker after I filmed to show where I had left off, and I of course forgot to do that last time. But here we are. This is where I am, and in case you're wondering, unlike my Asana wrap, which ended up asymmetrical, this is supposed to be asymmetrical. So this side, it's an arrow shape. This side is supposed to be longer than this side. I checked. Oh, I got embroidery floss on there. Perfect. So here it is. I'm really liking it. It's a great way to use up these colors that have all been sitting in my stash for a while, and I love the way they look together, and it's just a nice, simple, easy project that's going to be really handy for me to toss into a tote bag and take with me in the car when we go places, because I don't know about you, but I am forever in a car early Saturday morning car knitting while we go somewhere. I don't remember the last time. I had a whole weekend where we just sat at home on our butts all day, but it's fine. So this is a great car knitting project, and I will be bringing it with me this weekend, as a matter of fact, because we will be headed to a family reunion, among some other exciting things we're doing this weekend. So that will probably be the project that I bring with me. It will be this one. It lives in my NSP Designs project bags. All of the project bags that I am using right now are project bags from my shop, because I'm a shameless self-promoter, obviously. And the next work in progress that I have, as I mentioned, is a stitchy one. It is living in the same project bag that my cross stitch was living in. I just popped that one out and put this stuff right back in. It is my Pinup Girl project bag. It's got a couple of fun pins on here. If you are a member of the Midnight Society, you will recognize our seal. We've got dogs and the ever delicious Ouch bubblegum. So, I have like 20 minutes of backstory for every one of my projects this week. Apparently it's been too long since I talked to people, probably because I work from home. So, speaking of my bridesmaids and my wedding, and bridesmaids gifts, I saw this really cute, I was perusing Etsy for potential bridesmaids gifts. This is way off because we haven't even got a wedding date set or a venue booked yet, but sometime next year. And I was looking at potential bridesmaids gifts, and I saw a really cute idea. And this is not a spoiler because, again, only one of my bridesmaids watches these videos. And I'm not really going to keep it a secret from them. I don't care if they know. But anyway, I saw this on Etsy. Beautiful little kind of canvas cosmetic bags that were monogrammed and then had a little floral design on them. I think the first ones that I saw were printed, and then I've seen some where the monogram was embroidered, and they're pretty and lovely, and I would have purchased them, but working on that cross stitch again, I had taken a bit of an off break from any type of needlepoint for a bit, because I just was really into knitting and crochet for a while. Getting back into cross stitch to do that project for Rachel really made me excited about needlepoint again, and I have a couple of cross stitch projects on deck. I have a Star Wars themed project that I've been working on for my brother for a couple of years now, and that's kind of hibernating. But the other cross stitch projects that I have on hand are kind of bigger, most of them, and I didn't want to commit to a really big extensive cross stitch project while I'm working on a lot of other knitting things and trying to design a crochet pattern. So I wanted something small. And I've been wanting to hone my embroidery skills. Embroidery was one of the first crafts that I ever learned, and I never took it very far past there. I don't think I've actually embroidered since I was in the single digits of age, but it's kind of becoming a trendy thing again now, and I wanted to, not because of the trend, but you know, it's very inspiring, I wanted to kind of get back into my embroidery skills. So I decided that it would be a nice touch on the gift to my bridesmaids to embroider the little bags myself. And because I make bags all the time, obviously I can make them. So I went out, and Michaels has these pre-cuts of fabric that they sell, at least in most of the Michaels that I've been to lately, that are like, they don't have a huge range of fabric because it's just Michaels, but they have cotton, tulle, felt, and canvas. And while my project bags that I make and sell are made out of quilting cotton, and quilting cotton is plenty durable, I wanted something that was a little bit more up to the task of like chuck it in your purse and go, take it everywhere. It was gonna be, I wanted it to be just a slightly more tough wearing fabric. And I also liked the more kind of linen-y looking texture. So I chose a pre-cut from Michaels. It was 1.5 yards of canvas. And this is actually a really nice light canvas. It feels kind of, it feels very nice and durable, like it will hold up well, but it's also nice and light. It's not hard to stitch through at all. It's soft on my hands, and I love the color, I love the look of it, and it's great. So I just free-handed a little pattern on here for some flowers and stems, and then this is just a practice one because I want the bags that I eventually make them to look really polished and nice, and I haven't embroidered in years, so this is for me. I'm gonna find something to write up here somewhere. It's maybe my name, maybe a little saying, not sure yet. But I've been stitching on this, so it's been really fun. My embroidery skills are not as awful and deteriorated as I thought, probably because I've kept up with so many other crafts, and I really like it. So I have the whole cut of canvas already. I don't know if I will work through that practicing by the time I'm ready to make actual bags. I hope not, because that's a lot of fabric. But this is a great cost saver for me on gifts for my bridesmaids, and I think that having them handmade, like hand making them, I really love hand making gifts to people who appreciate the effort of a handmade gift, so I'm really excited to do that for them. I know that all of my bridesmaids will really appreciate that element of it, and it just makes it more personal in my opinion. So that is the stitch that I'm working on. I will try to keep you updated on how it turns out, and once I start working on the actual bags, I will try to share those with you as well. That is all of my official works in progress this week. I have occasionally been showing a crochet project that I'm working on, an original pattern design using yarn by my friend Fiber for the People, but I haven't done anything with it. Actually, that's not true. What I did is I frogged it again, and I started over. But this start over, I think this is the second time I've started over, is perfect. I realized that what I was trying to do, I didn't like it anymore. I kind of lost the urge or the motive, like not motivation, but like kind of the inspiring drive behind it. It just kind of burned away, and it just wasn't, I didn't like it. I didn't think that what I was doing was like simple. I like crochet patterns that look really beautiful and ornate but are actually quite simple, and I didn't think it was very cohesive with the yarn. I didn't think that it was showing off the yarn nicely, and so I frogged it, I started over, and I really like what I'm doing now. I'm just not showing it this time because I haven't worked on it since I restarted. It's been a couple weeks, so I don't have much to show you. And that's it for official works in progress, but I do have a not started yet new start. I should not be doing this. I have no reason to be starting something else. I have 2 knitting projects on the go that I'm working on. I have a crochet pattern design I'm trying to finish, I have embroidery I'm trying to finish, I have a job and an Etsy shop and stuff I'm writing. It's too much, but I'm doing it anyway. Because that's the way I live my life. So in this bag, this is an NSP Designs bag. Once again, here are my pins. I really love them. And in this bag is the yarn I have caked up and my pattern for the Goldfish Memory by Casapinka. If I remember, I will stick a picture in here so you can see it. And I will be using some yarn that will be quite familiar to you if you've been watching, because this is yarn that I acquired at Fiberspace a few weeks ago. Fiberspace is basically my local yarn shop. It's not super local to me. It's about a 30 to 40 minute drive. It is located in Alexandria, but I consider it my local yarn shop because it's pretty great. So I picked these 2 colors of hedgehog fibers up there when we stopped by maybe a month, 2 months ago. I think it was closer to 2 months ago. This is Hedgehog Fiber Sock in Method and Urchin. And then I also have this cake of Hedgehog Fiber Sock in Rusty Nail. I'm obsessed with this color. And I like these three together very much. I don't know how well it shows it off when they're caked up like this, but if you hold them next to each other and look closely, they actually go really nicely together, in my opinion. So the Goldfish Memory is actually a knitting pattern that one of my knitty friends completed a few months ago, and hers is beautiful, and I have coveted the pattern ever since. I've wanted to make it, and I just have never committed, but now I'm committing. So I wound up all my yarn, got it ready to go, printed off my pattern, popped it in a bag, and added some pins, and hopefully next time we talk I will have some progress to show you. Haven't started yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. Now we'll move on to a little bit of shop news because I actually have a few things to share. The first thing that I wanted to share is that my fiber friend Taylor at Fiber for the People and the Wool Needles Hands podcast asked me very nicely a little bit ago to collaborate with her on a yarn and bag kit. We all know that I love me some Fiber for the People yarn, and Taylor is the best, and I was so happy that she asked me to participate in a collab with her. It's the first time I've ever been able to do something like this, and it was super, super fun. And that collaboration launched last week, the day I left for camp, basically, or like the day before, and it's pretty great. So I want to share with you the Carnival Barker Sock Set Kit. And in this kit, you receive this project bag from NSP Designs in this fantastic carnival ticket, theme park ticket, circus ticket fabric that I love so much. I love the colors, I love the print. It reminds me of like vintage carnival circus vibes. So fun. And this bag is not available in the shop outside of the kit. I only got enough fabric to make exactly the number of bags and kits we created, and so the only way that you can get this bag is by grabbing a kit. And it's lined with this really fun, it's got a pink zipper, it's lined with this really fun bright yellow polka dot fabric, and it is so cool. So this is the bag. You also get a DPN cozy in this fabric. I would show you a DPN cozy, but they're over there, and obviously I'm incapable of getting up. But I will insert some photos as I'm showing you this. So this is the bag. This is my standard kind of main size of bag that I make. And then in addition to the bag and cozy, you get a skein and a mini of Fiber for the People yarn. So here's the yarn. I will insert, again, pictures so you can see the color a little better. I don't want to take this out of the plastic. I want to protect it from, you know, Webster's, kitty hair, etc. But you get this full-size skein of yarn, which is called Carnival Barker, and then you get a coordinating mini in this really pretty, like, dusty, like, kind of dirty ballet pink, not dirty, but like, you know, color that's called Tightrope Walker. It's so pretty. Taylor, after seeing the fabric, took a lot of inspiration from vintage circus posters and carnival posters, and you can really see that here in the colors. It's so beautiful, such cool vibes. I really love that color scheme, and the yarn is just so pretty. And she always, you can see peeking out here, she always includes in her yarn orders, if you've ever purchased from her before, a little packet of tea, so she included that for the kit as well. So you receive these items plus a DPN cozy. As I said, the kits have already launched, but I have just a few left still in my shop, so you can grab them at the link to my shop, which I mentioned at the beginning. I put a link to my shop in the end of the video, and it's always linked in the description, so there are just a couple left. You can still grab them, and that's the only way that you can get this kit all together. It's at a slightly discounted price than if you bought the yarn from her on the bag from me, and the cozy, and all that good stuff. So I'm really excited about this. I'm super proud, and I want you guys to be able to share it. So, yeah, just a couple left. We had a very limited quantity to begin with, and there's just a few left. So, next up in shop news, I have some new fabrics happening recently. I recently did a pre-order, which I do these occasionally in my shop. I can't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but A pre-order is something I do every once in a while in my shop where I will pick a print that is special for whatever reason. I've done a Harry Potter pre-order, I've done Cats and Donuts, I've done Stranger Things pre-order, and so I did another one recently, and it was one of the most popular pre-orders I've ever done, so thank you very much if you're watching and you grabbed one. But when I do these pre-orders, that is the only way that you can get that fabric. So I never put those pre-order prints in the shop as a regularly available item. The only time that you can grab them is during the window when I leave the pre-order listing up. And because it is kind of a very limited cut of fabric, and I only make the ones that are pre-ordered, the turnaround time is a little bit longer, so I always give free domestic shipping and $4 international shipping for those pre-orders only. So I recently ran this pre-order for this fabric. It's the best, but it's just little cat butts. It's so funny. I was really excited by this fabric. I can't stop laughing at it. It's just these cat butts. They crack me up so much. Yeah, it's just these cat butts. And so the fabric is in this week. I'm finishing up orders and sending them out now. I'm so excited about this pre-order. I'm so glad that most of the people, I did have a couple of people unfollow me on Instagram after I posted this fabric. I'm very sorry if cat butts are offensive to you, but I don't know what to tell you. Cats have butts. The finished bags are going out this week. I wanted to share this fabric and kind of let you know that these pre-orders are a thing that happen if you didn't know, if you don't keep up with me on Instagram or you just haven't caught one before. And I'm really excited about it, so that's fun. I'm also going to be restocking a print that would be the coffee cups and donuts print. This has been pretty popular in the shop. This fabric is very wrinkly right now because I pre-washed, so it's fresh from the dryer, nice and clean, but also very wrinkly. I need to iron it, but this will be coming back very soon. And I'm introducing another new fabric into the shop that I am very excited about. I've had my eye on this one for a while and I finally committed, and it would be these knitting gnomes. They are so cute. I love them so much. I've been kind of eyeballing them online for a long time, and I just think that they are so fun. So bags and this print will be popping into the shop at some point very soon. I think this fabric is too cute. I covered the sock set kits, I covered new fabrics, and I have one more announcement that is a very big deal to me. It's very exciting from the shop, which is that I will be a vendor this year in October at the Frederick Fiber Festival. The Frederick Fiber Festival happens in Frederick, Maryland. I think it's a newer festival. I only started hearing about it this year. I don't think it's been around too terribly long, but I am very, very excited and pleased that I will be featured as a vendor there. I am close-ish to Frederick, and I have some family who live there, so Frederick is a very familiar area to me, and obviously I used to live in Maryland, and I'm super excited about this. I don't usually vend at festivals or craft fairs or anything. I've vended at one craft fair quite a while ago now, and that's it, so I'm super excited to be able to participate in a fiber festival. And I just wanted to share the news. I'm very excited about it. If you are not familiar with Frederick Fiber Fest, go check them out there on Instagram. I'll try to remember to link them in the description. And if you are free on October, I think it's October 13th, it's whatever that Saturday is, stop by and you can come see me. And I do have a couple of things planned up my sleeve specifically for that. One of them may or may not be a Maryland-themed fabric that I will probably only sell there, so that's very cool. I already have it picked out. I think that is also when I will start premiering my new holiday fabrics as well, and of course, some Halloween prints. So, very exciting. That is it for my shop news. It was a lot to share. I think this is going to be a longer video. I have a lot to talk about this week. But we're getting to the close, I promise. There's just a few things left. So in miscellaneous stuff that is still vaguely fiber related, I have a teeny tiny bit of stash addition to share with you. A little while ago, a couple weeks ago, Christy of Yarn Cafe Creations, and she's one half of the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast, she released some pre-order sock sets a couple of weeks ago. She had a summer themed run, and then she had a Stranger Things themed grouping of colors, and then she had a grouping of colorways that caught my attention because they were My Favorite Murder themed. And if you put together My Favorite Podcast, My Favorite Murder, and yarn, just take my money. So she came up with a whole bunch of different colorways. I think she had like 6 or 7 My Favorite Murder themed colorways. Again, as a warning, if you go and check out that podcast as a result of me talking about it here, it does have a lot of inappropriate language and graphic descriptions of crime and murder, so if that's going to bother you, don't go check it out, but I love it. And so I could not resist. And when she does these runs of these sock kits, I believe that she doesn't dye them again, or at least a long time goes by before she redyes them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it works. So I had to grab a sock kit. I only got one. It was very tough, but I only got one. I could not decide between so many of the colorways. I was obsessed with all of them, if we're honest. But I finally settled on just Murderino. Murderino was a fan of the podcast. And it's got some great colors in it. It's got some splashes of orange in here and hot pink, and then the little mini is pink. I love it so much. This yarn is like some of the squishiest, softest yarn I've ever felt. It's her Biscotti sock fingering. It's an 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon, and it is so soft and squishy. I need to find just the right thing to go with this. I need to find the perfect project that deserves this yarn. I was down to this, or I think the one I had to like flip a coin over was between this or Elvis Want a Cookie. And I also almost got Steven Cut That Out. I think honestly at some point every single one of the colors was in my cart and I was just flipping back and forth and being really indecisive, but I settled on Murderino. And Christy was so nice, and she actually sent me another set in another one of the My Favorite Murder colorways. Never in a million years expected that she would send me another one, so thank you so much. I so appreciate that. This is on her sparkle base. It's the Twinkle fingering weight. It is 70% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and 5% stellina. And this kit is another of the My Favorite Murder theme, and this one is called It's Never a Mannequin, which, if you listen to the show, you get that one. But it is this really cool, like, darker reddish pink, and there's some flecks of brown, and then you've got the lovely coordinating mini, and it's so pretty. And she sent me a little note that was super nice, and she said that I could keep this for myself or use it for a giveaway or something, and I think that I'm definitely going to... It's so pretty though. No, I'm going to... I'm definitely going to have to pay this forward. I really appreciate so much that you sent this to me. I thank you so much. It was lovely. It was really nice of you, and I can't wait to pay forward your kindness to a deserving Knitty Murderino. So thank you so much. I really love it. And she's coming out with a lot of really beautiful colorways recently. She came out with I don't know if it's called her Halloween themed line of colorways or her horror colorways, but they're all named after horror movies, and they are so cool. They're gorgeous. I'm not a huge horror movie watcher myself. I dabble. There are some here and there that I will watch. Adam, my fiance, really enjoys horror movies, so he definitely knows a lot more about them than I do, but there are, I mean, I recognize a lot of the names, and the colorways themselves are really, really cool, so she's doing really cool stuff there. You should go check her out. And that is all I have for stash enhancements. It's very small, but I definitely needed to share about that. The last thing that I wanted to share is a little bit more of a personal cause, but it still relates somewhat to my shop and to being a Murderino, as a matter of fact. I have talked a couple of times about Murderino Makers, which is a collective group of Murderinos, fans of the My Favorite Murder podcast, who are also small handmade business owners, and once a month we donate proceeds from a week of sales in our shops to a charity. If you're curious, for July, we donated 15% of proceeds from every sale in our shop to Act Blue, which is supporting the families who are in need at the border. One of our fellow Murderinos, who is a lovely handmade shop owner, lovely person, excellent mama, owner of a absolutely adorable dog, and just generally gold star A+ person, is going through a really tough time. So once again, Murderinos are kind of working together to give her some support. Her name is Tess. She has a shop called The Geeky Knot, and she makes a lot of handmade tote bags. She does crocheted caps and these really cool coasters that are little skulls that are crocheted. I can't quite quite figure out the wizardry that goes into making that little crocheted skull, but it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And she does keychains that look really nice and professional. Actually, hold on. So Tess also makes these keychains that look really cool and professional, and I've always liked them as I've seen them pop up in my feed. And I grabbed this one, which is Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously, for Rachel for her birthday, and I forgot that it was coming. And I mailed her package prematurely, so this showed up the day, I think it showed up the day that I mailed her package. My luck. So now I'm just kind of holding on to it until the next time I see Rachel or have to mail her something, but this one is a Nightmare Before Christmas keychain. Tess made this. She sells a whole bunch of these in her shop in all different kinds of fabrics. And it is such a nice quality. Like, the fabric feels great. It feels very well constructed. There's obviously some type of reinforcement in here, so you're not just getting floppy quilting cotton, you're getting like, I don't know what she puts in there. She puts like webbing or what, but it's great. And then you get a little keychain on the end. It's really cool. But so that's the kind of thing that you can get in Tess's shop. She's a lovely lady. She has 2 children. She has a son and then a little baby girl, and they are going through a tough time in the family, and Tess is abruptly becoming the sole source of income for herself, her children, and her dog. And she works just in her Etsy shop. That's how she gets her income. And so to support her and help her out of a really difficult time and try to make a dark time that much lighter for someone who absolutely deserves it, a Instagram account called Auction for Tess has been started by a fellow Merino. I will link it in the description, and I'll try to flash the name of it here as well so you can go find it. I posted it in my stories today, and I'll try to repeatedly kind of remind you. But the Instagram account, again, is called Auction for Tess, and we will be holding an Instagram auction. So you can check out already on the account some of the things that will be available. The auction itself will be on Saturday, July 21st, and everything will have a minimum bid set, and you can find out on the account how the auction is going to work, and everything that is earned through that sale will go right to Tessa's PayPal to help her pay for moving and pay rent and care for her children and her family as they go through this really difficult time. And I am someone who is affected by the same type of issue I was as a kid, and it's hard, and being a single mom is really, really tough, and I really admire any woman who does it, and I think that they should get all the support that we possibly can give to them. So if you are interested in that, you can go check it out. There is some really lovely stuff, beautiful stuff getting donated, everything from everything from prints and artwork to greeting cards that are horror themed, which is so cool, to bath bombs. I know fellow Merino maker Sweet Honesty Co. is donating a painting that she's gonna paint. I will be donating a project bag, and so we're all kind of coming together to support Tess in this small way that we can. So please do go check that out, follow the account, see if there's anything there that you'd like. There's gorgeous quilted pot holders, there's a peg doll, there's all kinds of stuff that you can look at, and any contribution, big or small, to Tess would, I know, change her life. It would give, or at least give her some light in a time that she's going through that's very tough. I think that's about it. In personal updates, I kind of covered that at the beginning, so I'm sorry if you wanted me to cut right to the fiber, but it's too late now. I was at camp this past week. This weekend we'll be going to a family reunion. I have sent out little packages to all of my bridesmaids. I haven't heard from all of them yet. I don't think that they've all arrived at their destinations, but slowly kind of getting into some of the planning aspects of having a wedding. Again, we just got engaged and then I went out of town, and it's been a tough month at work for Adam, so we haven't really done a lot, but we're kind of trying to get the ball rolling now and get things kind of turning, so that's cool. I'm going to try and keep up my DIY wedding Pinterest board on my NSP Designs Pinterest page. I'm not going to pin every detail about the wedding there, but if you're just kind of curious or interested to see some of the things that I might be making for my wedding, because I do plan to do lots of arts and crafts, you can check that out. What else? Reading progress. I'm going to kind of skate over because I don't have any. I'm reading The Children Act by Ian McEwan, and I think I've maybe read, I don't know if I've read a page since the last time I filmed, to be honest. I brought this to camp with me, but I didn't crack it. I set it aside, and I never even picked it up again. I picked it up when I was packing back to come back home, so... not that I don't like it, it's just been super busy, I've been all over the place, I've been really tired, and at night, which is usually the time when I read, I've either been falling asleep immediately, or knitting and falling asleep over my knitting. So I've been doing a lot of falling asleep. But I do want to try and get this finished because I am enjoying it, and I want to let you know how it is. And that's my reading progress. Very disappointing, I know. That is everything, I think, for this week. I officially checked my podcast notes and I covered everything I wanted to cover. So I'm sorry if this video is a little longer than usual, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you are a new viewer, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. And if you are a return viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. And if you want to keep up with me, please subscribe to the channel. And you can follow me on all of the various social media platforms I've mentioned already. They'll all be linked in the description. You can also find a link to Webster's Instagram there, and you can keep up with his squishy fat cat lifestyle as well. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a lovely week, get lots of crafting done, and I'll see you next time. Bye!